day I graduated college in 2005, I decided to start a rental company. It took a few years until it became successful enough to be my full-time job, but now it's all I do. My hope is to help you by sharing my knowledge.
So cold calling. I did it a lot. I did it all the time. But I never really thought how important it was until I watched Gorothbalion's video and made me realize how it really helped me out. It was just something I was doing, never even thought about it, never even thought to tell other business people about it. But then I saw his video and it made me think. And then I was talking to a Patreon, one of the 4 slots to sign up to, have weekly phone calls, bi-weekly phone calls with me. She was saying she would like to see me touch on the topic. And so I did cold calling all the time. And what I found was it took a long time for some of these things to come to fruition. Sure, sometimes you'd call a business or caterer or something and they'd say, oh, actually, we do need something. And maybe they didn't know of any tent companies or never used any, but they needed an oven or something. And then I called them and then we'd get it that week, a few weeks later. But the majority of them was me calling up event venues and caterers and other businesses that just throw events, other wedding planners and things, calling them, just letting them know I exist, and also seeing what kind of items that they usually rent so it can inform my buying decisions. I would already be using a tent company, but I knew if I called them that one day their tent company, their equipment company, is not going to have what they need, going to be overbooked, or they just don't carry that item. So then they're going to call me eventually, or they're going to get mad at their current rental company and not like their equipment anymore or their customer service, and then be looking for a switch. So that's really what happened. One example is I kept emailing this one caterer who I wanted to work with. He was like the only big one which I wasn't working with, and he was consistently working with another company. I emailed them every month just to let them know I exist. I could never get them on the phone, but I emailed. And then about 4 to 5 years later, he calls up one day and says the company that he was working with dropped off a 40 by 80 that was nasty. Was there one that I could set up? And I said, I'm sorry, there's not. We're actually on the job site right now setting up our last one for the week. And he said, is there any way you can clean this one? And I said, ironically, there is. There's a cleaning solution that we can spray in the tent and gets rid of the mildew and mold stains. But we actually just used it all this last weekend, and I ordered more. So I couldn't help him. But I said, send me your stuff from now on. Let me quote you. So he did. The other tent company had a few more jobs for the year. I think this was September when it happened. So he let him finish out the year, and he gave us a few more new ones that he would get here and there. But once he did that, he saw that we were far above him. All our stuff was way more clean, immaculate. The other guy delivered dishes in like 5-gallon buckets, and you open it up and sometimes they'd be mildewy or slimy because they were just like put away wet. And all ours are on green racks, and just everything was just way better with us. So he immediately switched. He had a few more the next year that the other guy had already got deposits for, so he let him do those, but everything was us. And then basically he's just exclusively rented from us unless he's going far away and there's a tent company there and it just makes more sense to use them. So like I said, that one took 4 or 5 years to come to fruition, and most of them have. Event venues and other caterers took a long time, and then they just knew I existed and then called me. Now the one that I cold called that like immediately took off was, we have a lot of people who have barns that they have been remodeling and turning into venues. And I would just keep an eye on Facebook, Google. Other people would tell me that someone they knew was doing something. And so I would just immediately call them, go have a meeting, and bring them a cup of coffee or whatever, and just have the meeting. And I was immediately in with them the next summer, because most of them started out without owning tables and chairs. Eventually they buy their own. Most of them didn't have dishes or a place for the caterer to be. So 12 different barns in my area, I got in with all of them immediately. We don't do as much there anymore because, like I said, they bought tables and chairs and stuff, but we still do dishes and kitchen tents at most of the barns every weekend. So that cold call took off immediately. I know it's a little weird, you feel weird cold calling, but you just do it. Or just send an email to them. Just let them know you exist if you don't feel comfortable calling. And like I said, some of the things will take off immediately, but most of the things will take years to come to fruition. So don't get discouraged if you don't see progress right away, because you're just letting them know you exist, and then one day you'll get them. And when they do call you, you will be ready. And then you just got to blow them away with clean equipment and good customer service, and they'll never go back to the other rental company again unless you are overbooked. So thanks, Gorothbalion, for making me think about cold calls again, because like I said, I was doing them, I just never really thought about them, never really thought about making a video about them, didn't realize how important they were, but they are. And thanks to my new patron who signed up for the phone call tier, for requesting that I kind of touch on this. And this is a good opportunity to drop my Patreon thing. The season's starting up, and I'm not going to be able to answer a ton of questions on the YouTube. So, I got pretty inexpensive Patreon tiers, and I maxed them out pretty low so that I can comfortably handle, answering a lot of people's questions. Or not a lot. I kept it pretty low because it's going to get crazy, and I'm not going to be able to answer comments directly through YouTube. So I set up the Patreon thing so I could still help people, because that's what I'm trying to do, but in a more focused manner. If you can't sign up for Patreon or don't want to, that's fine. I'm still going to be making videos. You're still going to learn stuff. But thanks to all the new patrons, thanks to all the new subscribers. It's crazy. It blows my mind. But thanks for watching.